of the people from the audience are working professionals? Can you show by raising your hand? On the Zoom, you will have something called reactions. If you click on that, we can see to. So we have around 8 people working professionals. Rest we will assume are either students or professions in other areas. Okay, so that's great to start. We have 20 participants now. You all can lower your hand. I will start with a brief introduction about myself, and then I'll go ahead and share my presentation. Oh, Ms. Sama has a question. I just wanted to know how many of the audience are working professionals, and how. Just wanted to see if we can divide by students and the working professionals. So we are done with that. So we have 50% of the audience who are working professionals, rest are students or in some other areas. So brief intro about myself. I am Syed Yunus. I am working as a project manager in Delhi EMC. So before this, I have experience in operations services as well as regulatory reporting. So as the days are passing, that we have just transitioned from lockdown and a worldwide pandemic. So we have gotten ourselves used to our homes and used to our cell phones, and we have somehow lost the ability uh, to make hard decisions and bring those into actions and see that in the day of the light. So what is that one problem that everyone is affected with, or one disease that everyone has contracted? So that is procrastination. So we are here today to understand what procrastination is, and let's do a deep dive into it, as well as understand uh, the people who have affected with procrastination, how their life is and what goes around. Okay, I'll go ahead and start sharing a presentation. I hope everyone is able to see the presentation. Can anyone put it in the chat if they're able to see my presentation? Okay, awesome. So my introduction is done. So let's get started. Okay, to start off, I want to take you through the man who delays everything. So it will start with my story. When we were in back in school, all of us used to get homeworks, an assignment, which was due for the end of the week. So we all, even when we are in a preschool, we all had a plan. Every time a homework gets assigned to us, so this is how we planned, right? We come back to our home and we have around 5 to 6 hours before we hit the bed. So this is how we decide. Exception to those people who went to tuition. There they had the tuition teacher who made them do the homework. For the rest of us, this is what our plan was. So from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m., this is the hours that we would divide and would plan to do the homework. But almost in every case, it usually used to turn out like this. So you're right before the sleep, you have just 1 hour left, and we haven't touched our homework. So that was well and good. In our school, the consequences not were not too high. Even if we delay our homework, we used to plan the next morning we'd wake up and finish the homework. Even if that's not possible, we go to school before the teacher comes. We used to finish our homework. The consequences were not high. We either get a beating or get a scolding from the teacher, and then we are off. So that used to go on till we finished our graduation, and we hit the jobs. So now when we have hit the job, the consequences are exponentially increased. If you don't do what you're asked to do, uh, it may result with a job loss. It may result with a career disaster, or or it may result with something that you have to live with for the rest of your life. So when I was in office, I had the same habit of procrastinating. So when I joined Dell, so everybody who joins Dell has to do a 90-day program. So once they finish 90 days, they have to present how the 90 days went to their manager and the senior manager. So they want to know your training experience, your overall work experience, and how the team members behaved with you. So once I finished my 90 days, I got an invite from my manager saying that, Syed, in the next week you are supposed to be presenting us your 90-day experience. So that was a 1 hour meeting invite. So like I had the habit from school. So every time a task gets assigned to me, this is how I plan. So from 1 week time, so I divided into 3 parts that I'll start from today. I'll probably prepare a few slides today, and then tomorrow a few slides, and then final in the end of the week, I'll probably, you know, pump up into high gear, spend some more time, like 4 or 5 hours, and finish the presentation, and I'm off, ready to present in the next meeting. So the first few days went by, I couldn't do much, so what I did was I thought like, okay, even if I'm not able to do this today, I'll probably, increase my productivity hours in the next few days. So the next few days went by, and I couldn't start preparing the presentation. And the last few days got stacked up with the more number of hours that I'm supposed to put. So it went on till the last day, and next day is my present. Next day is the meeting, and today I find myself like this. I'm helpless. I have to finish the presentation in less than a day. Probably have few hours. So what I did that day was I stayed back in the office. So my shift was around 3 to 12 evening. So I stayed back for a few hours, like till 4 a.m. I finished the presentation and I left for home. And next day I got invited. I gave my presentation. I thought that's the end of it. I'm done. So I thought the habit which carried on from the school, from the college till my work to my job place, I think that doesn't come with any consequences, and this is something that I can follow through for the rest of my professional career. But what happened was a few days later, I got called by my manager saying that we both want to meet you about your last 90-day program presentation. So I went into the room and I was said that this was the best presentation we have ever seen from a new hire. So if you're with me, and if you all were surprised, actually that did not happen. So it was a very bad presentation, not up to the mark, and it was something better expected out of me. So I want to tell you what happens, like what happens into the mind of this procrastinator, like what happened during the school and what happened during the college, and what is happening while we are working. So let's understand the meaning of the procrastinator and what is the meaning of doing the procrastinating. So procrastinate means to be slow or late about doing something. So anytime you have a task at your hand, you you never want to do it now. You always want to do it later. So who is a procrastinator? A procrastinator is a person for whom this has become a habit. He never starts anything on time. He never wants to do anything now. He always wants to do it later. Okay. If I'm going very fast, you can let me know in the chat. So let's deep dive into the mind of a procrastinator. Okay. So we just learned the man who delayed everything. That is me, and everyone, those in the audience who could relate my story to their own life. Okay. Now, to see in the contrast, who is the mind of a procrastinator and the one who does not procrastinate, who always starts the task when he's supposed to. Okay. So this guy Tim Urban. is from whom I got this idea, and it has been very beneficial for me from the day I listened to his talk on TED. So what this guy did is, he took a scan of a brain of a person who does not delay anything, and that is what I'm trying to show you in the next slide. So under the brain of a non-procrastinator, there is a rational decision maker. So let's see, in contrast, what does the brain of a procrastinator look like? Okay. So along with the rational decision maker, there is an instant gratification monkey. You see the difference? In the mind of a non-procrastinator, there's only one guy who is the rational decision maker. But in my brain, and to all of those who could relate their life story to my life story, in their brain, there is an instant gratification monkey. So let's understand deeply what these two guys are. So every time a procrastinator decides that this is a perfect time for me to start, like the assignment is due next week, so I'm planning to start today, the decision comes normal from the rational decision maker. But every time it ends up like the instant gratification monkey comes on and says, no, we can start, but let's take a 5 minutes break. So that the 5 minutes break eventually leads into, let me check Twitter for a minute. And once you have spent, enormous number of minutes on Twitter, your instant gratification monkey takes you to Facebook. So after Facebook, it takes you to TikTok, and then on Instagram, and then on YouTube. So this 5 minutes break results into half a day, and you have almost forgotten that you had planned to start a task. You had planned to start something. So from one app to other app. So how does that transition happens? So this is how the monkey, the instant gratification monkey, slowly takes control of your mind, of a procrastinator's mind. And by looking, you could see that in a span of time, from one app to another app, the control is completely gone. The monkey is controlling the wheel of the mind now. So by the end of the day, you realize that there is no one that could save you. The control was completely in the monkey's hand, and you are at the corner of your mind, uh, just realizing that the day has passed and nothing is in control of you. So deep diving into these two characters, the monkey and the rational decision maker. You see, the monkey inside our brain does not have any. He does not remember the past. So everything that has happened with you, he doesn't care and he does not remember, and he has nothing to do with the future. He does not care like what is going to happen in the future. He completely lives in the present, and the only two things that he cares in the present is easy and fun. All he wants to do is have fun. He does not want to work hard. He does not want to do anything. So but that is good if we are in the if we were in the tribal in the tribal terms. If we are not in this year, the 2022, if we were in very back, when the humanity started. So in those days, if this mentality we had, it was possible. But we are in a civilized society now. So in order to live up, you have to do something. You have to have a career. You have to work, and you have to earn your daily bread. So you have to do everything that's necessary to keep your life sailing smooth. So so in order to help us achieve that, we have rational decision maker. So this guy, the rational decision maker, he makes all the decisions that are rational, that create meaning to our life, that complete the task that is up hand every day, whether in terms of our own or terms of our family, in terms of a successful business. You have to have the rational decision maker to make the tough decisions for you that are meaningful. So how do you get uh, how do you um, bring when the task is up to your hand, how do you bring the rational decision maker have full control of your life? So sometimes before we go there, sometimes you see the monkey and the rational decision maker have a overlap. So this overlap occurs when you have spent whole of your day working hard, and if you come back home in the evening, you get to spend time with your family on the dinner table, when you don't have to do any difficult tasks. You're just left for yourself to enjoy, or a well-earned weekend, Saturday, Sunday, when you're off your work or off your college. You go out with your friends, you spend the rest of the day. That is when this overlap comes, where they are not, where your rationalization maker is happy and even your instant gratification monkey is happy. The summer holiday trips, uh, the weekend fun with your friends, any parties with your colleagues, that is when the overlap happens and there are no consequences. Both of them are happy. But usually for a procrastinator, someone who has a habit of delaying things, most of the time is spent with the instant gratification monkey. Like in the morning, you're supposed to get up, uh, leave your bed, and go to your college or your school or your office. You often find yourself preparing in the last minute, and the most of the hours on the bed you spend using your phone or something. So that is something called when leisure activities happen when they're not supposed to happen. So the more time you spend with your instant gratification monkey, when you are supposed to work and all that you do is play, play, play. So that is called the dark playground. So from the agenda, what we're here to understand is the more time someone spends with with the instant gratification monkey, when you are supposed to work, you don't work and instead you play. So what are the consequences? So here are some of the consequences listed. One is you dread about yourself. The other one, these are just a few which are major. Anxiety. You always are afraid of something. You're very anxious of something. You are always anxious about the next moment that is coming in your life. And then most of the procrastinators are feel embarrassed. They it's a natural occurring feeling. They don't know what they're embarrassed about. They're just embarrassed and always unhappy. They hate themselves. They feel guilty of procrastinating, and eventually all of this lead to low self-confidence and career disaster. Most of us, most of the times, we might have had one of the other of the feeling when we procrastinated in school, when we procrastinated in college, and even at times when we are procrastinating at office. Although there are so many controls, but we eventually find ourselves procrastinating. We always find ourselves delaying tasks, delaying the work that is upper hand. And all of us have felt one or the other feelings, which is dread, anxiety, or all of them, all of the all of the feelings on the screen. We may have come across some of the other point of our life. So what do we do uh, to to bring ourselves in control of the rational decision maker, protecting ourselves from the instant gratification monkey? So it turns out there's a guardian angel who is guarding these procrastinators. That's something like a silver lining, that every time they find themselves with the instant gratification monkey and they have no control of their own life, somebody comes up to save them. And what is that is, okay, before we go there, let's take a quick look at the rational decision maker. He makes hard decisions, like I said earlier, that he's someone who is there to give meaning to our life by doing the things that are not easy and fun but are necessary for our life to move forward. Okay, now comes the hero, the panic monster. This is the guy who saves us, who finally gives us the control to our life when we have lost our control to instant gratification monkey. And most of you would be familiar with this panic monster. So right before a deadline, imagine you have to submit your assignment tomorrow. The panic monster comes to a night Today night he comes, he just doesn't come. He comes with an awful lot of feelings. He just shakes you up, stirs you up from inside out. So this is not a eye to eye session. It's a Zoom session, so I couldn't see your reactions, but I hope that you all know what this panic monster is by your memory. So when this guy comes, the panic monster, like by his name, he is in panic. The moment he comes, the entire system of our body goes into panic. So there's a mayhem everywhere, and the person this instant gratification monkey is terrified of is the panic monster. So the moment he comes, he has no obligations, he has no responsibility. The instant gratification monkey, he has no future, and he doesn't remember his past. So what he does is eventually he leaves the wheel to us. So tomorrow is the assignment submission. Tomorrow is the deadline for our task at office or our homework in school. And today night the panic monster comes, or an hour before the school starts, the panic monster comes, and everything is in the mayhem, and finally we have control to our life. So by experience, you might know even the last hour or the last few hours which we get uh, for ourselves, when this instant gratification monkey is no longer with us, those hours are a boon. We um, even if it's mediocre, we at least got something to do our homework. We got something to finish the task at our offices. We got some hours to work and save ourselves, save our career. So what happens when there is no deadline? So that is a very big question, and a very big problem that we cannot control. So what happened to all the tasks that did not come with a deadline? When we were at school, we had passions, we had dreams. When we were in college too, we are in office day in and day out. We are seeing how the market is changing. Uh, how agile things are. So we all every day come up with dreams. We all have a passion that we want to see ourselves in the next a year or 2 year or 5 years. But all of those don't have a deadline. So when there's no deadline, we don't have a panic monster who can come and save us, or at least buy us some time and get rid of the instant gratification monkey. So it's the same day, it's the same phone, or it's the same leisure activities that we want to avoid, but we are unable to. So what happens then? So eventually, when we don't have a deadline and we spend most of our time with this instant gratification monkey, all the debilitating problems which we saw a few hours ago, the dread, the anxiety, the unhappiness, the failure, the disaster, all of this stay for long term. They stay with the rest of our lives. So when Tim Urban did the research and put all of this procrastination things into one place, he explained that lot of students who were doing PhD, and lot of professionals who had no deadlines in their career and who had no deadlines in their academics, it resulted that they left with anxiety for the rest of their life, and unhappiness for the rest of their life, and all the feelings that the procrastination brings, all those feelings stay with them for the rest of their life. And there's no way to escape unless and until we bring a deadline and we manage ourselves better. So I hope the concept was the concept of procrastination and the science behind how it goes was clear to all of you. So moving on, let's learn a few things that can help us, to overcome this procrastination. This is not going to go anyway. It's going to stay. The objective of today's talk is to make us all realize that there is something called procrastination, and there is something the circle of life of a procrastinator is with us and is going to stay with us. So being aware is going to at least is going to help us and make us aware that, hey, this is what I'm going through and this is how I can tackle it. I'll quickly glance to the chat to see if everything is smooth. Okay. So moving ahead, some of the reasons why we procrastinate. not knowing where to start. This is the most common problem why people procrastinate. Even at school, wherever we are, the reason we don't want to start today is because we don't know what we are going to start. Uh, so, and the other one is lack of clarity. You get a task assigned at your office. Hey, can you prepare? Your manager says, can you prepare this? And you don't have a clarity. You just say, you nod your head. Yes, I'll do it. And for the next 2-3 days, you don't start because you don't have the clarity. And other thing is funny that dreading the displeasure of doing the task. Um, Imagine like in a student life, we used to dread maths or science or some other subject. We don't like studying it. Is what is called displeasure. So because of that, we don't start the task. And finally, the fear of failure. I have heard many students, or I myself have said to many of them that वैसे भी पढ़ के fail ही होना है तो पढ़ें क्यों? So this is something that we use as a reason to procrastinate. So managing tasks with deadlines. Okay, this is what we wanted to talk to students and working professionals. Managing tasks. So I'll start off with the professionals. Okay, most of us, what I learned from a manager is managing your communication and your brand effectively is that you manage your tasks that come to you with a healthy deadline. For example, if your manager asks you to prepare a report and submit it for the next of the day, do a validation check of yourself every 4 hours. Okay, you have just 8 hours at office, and the next day you are coming to present the report. Next day, of course it won't be at the start of the day. You will have some hours. So manage it like for 4 hours. So check every 4 hours, like what is your progress, so that you know that the last 1 hour of the submission, you don't have to rush in and prepare a mediocre report that brings your brand down, brings your image in front of your manager down, and they lose the confidence in you. So create a 4 hour, and also to all the professionals who have a delay in their communication, that they receive an email and they respond a day after, the same thing for them. Create a 4 hour plan, like every 4 hours all the emails that come my way should have a response sent out to them. It can be less than 4 hours, but I'm just considering the the huge number of emails coming in. Those who have less emails, less than 100 emails, they should definitely aim for 2 hour or 3 hour window for giving the responses to their customers. And besides that, uh, for all of those who have aspirations and dreams of achieving something, like for an accreditation, for example, some people want to add certifications to their name so that they can grow in their career. Some people want to do MBAs. So to all of that, how we professionals in the MFRD plan is that every month we have 4 weekends. So 4 weekends, we have divided 4 weekends for different tasks. One weekend, what we do is we give for our professional development, one Saturday, Sunday. So the rest of the three weekends you give out to your family, your friends, and other responsibilities. One weekend dedicate for your personal growth. Create a deadline. If you want to do an MBA, market 2024 should be the completion year of my MBA. Or if you want to do certifications, like for example, for me, I have to do PMP, I have to do ITIL. So for that, I create a deadline quarter wise. So this in my company, the quarter ends in the month of July. So I have to achieve at least one certificate before the end of July. So same goes for you as well. At your workplace, if you want to grow, if you want to add certifications to yourself, create a deadline. Mark yourself with this, within this quarter, I want to achieve this many certifications. Go by example, talk to people who have already done that. It is not difficult. Before we start, it always looks like it's difficult, but it is not. Uh, so for students, it's the same thing. Check your progress of your assignments every few hours. Uh, Create a deadline. don't leave yourself for the rest of the last hour before the assignment submission. Trust me, with the years of experience, the habit that falls in your school or in your college, this habit is going to go with you for the rest of your life. So the earlier you put some controls and mitigate it, the better you are with your instant gratification monkey. Or else you will have to live through all the feelings that we just discussed in the earlier slides. Okay, I'll move further. Some tips: making the task underwhelming. Everything that looks difficult is actually not difficult. It's just that an instant gratification monkey is using his ways to manipulate us, so that we start procrastinating and he gets to have the fun. So he is one of the he is somewhere in your head whispering that it is very difficult, you don't start working now, you'll start it later. So what is the best way of seeking help? Or what is the best, or is the right, or the right time? What is the right time of seeking help? You see, always the right time to seek help is the moment you get the task assigned. For example, if your manager assigns you something, that is exact that moment that you ask your manager, hey, what are you expecting out of this, or what are the ways that you want me to go in making this report. And that is, if you have lost that opportunity and if you have lost that window of seeking help, the next best time is, you start the moment you start working on that activity, you reach out to someone, or someone in your colleagues who have done that. You ask them, how is this done. That is the second best time. And even if you have lost that opportunity, and if you have, in the last few hours of his report submission, or if your assignment submission, whoever is around you, grab them, and if there's nobody around you, reach out to the owner of that report, like the customer of that report, the end customer. Like if you're submitting that assignment to your teacher, reach out to your teacher and say that, hey, I have delayed working on this assignment and I'm the last minute, and I want your help. Everyone likes those who are upfront. If they are unable to do something and they're upfront and asking help for it, people like those kind of people. So that is the last best time to seek help. And if you have lost all the windows, you have eventually procrastinated, all you have to do is pray that they like what you have done. In most cases they won't, but this realization that the windows lost of seeking help is a lesson for the next time when the opportunity knocks your door. So don't lose out the first window the next time when the opportunity knocks your door. Okay, so breaking the task into small parts. uh, any difficult thing is only difficult unless and until you get some idea on it. So if you're preparing an assignment, if you're preparing for an exam, just start with the first few pages. You will develop interest in it. So the second tip is, every time you want to start something, your instant gratification monkey tells you, let's take a 5 minutes break. We all of us, like who are procrastinators on the call, very well know how that 5 minutes ends. It's never 5 minutes. It's not even 50 minutes. It's usually the whole day, and you don't even remember that you had planned to start something. Okay. So, and roadblocks are not the end. If you're, for example, I remember in my school when I was studying the theorems of maths, anytime that the theorem doesn't end well, you shut the book and you leave the home and you don't return for the rest of few hours. So that is an example of a roadblock. At office, if we are preparing a report and something isn't working as we are planning, we kind of uh, stop working and take a break for the rest of the few hours and just don't return to it. So you have to understand the roadblocks are not the end. It's just a matter of few minutes or few tries for the thing to work as we plan to. So what we have to learn is to grit your teeth and get through it. So this cannot be explained any further. All we have to show in some all of us have to do something is just show some courage and attack the task which is right in front of us. So yeah, finally do it now, not later. Every time your instant gratification monkey comes to you, don't say no to him. Say that we'll do it later. Instead, you tell him to procrastinate on easy and fun things, and you take control to do the difficult and right things for yourself. So in the agenda, we also had mentioned that uh, what is good procrastination for how long. I hope all of you remember in the agenda of the invite, we had also mentioned what is the good procrastination and how long. So there is a the research person known as Adam Grant. In his book Originals, he had mentioned, he had done a case study on many procrastinators and found that who are the best of the procrastinators. Like, so he found that there are two kind of approach for every task. One is proactive, one is procrastination. So those who are proactive in his research, from thousands of professionals, which he did, he found that those who start the task proactively are not that creative. They get the job done, but that job doesn't leave a print. It it doesn't, it fails to leave a mark. So those who procrastinate, those who don't do the task the moment that is assigned to them, and are effectively managing their creativity and leaving a print and surprising everyone, what they do is, so for the first few hours they leave the brain open for any ideas. They leave themselves open for any ideas to flow in, any suggestion to flow in, anything that they see around, to create a spark in them to attend to that activity with a lot of creativity. So I can vouch for this even in my experience at work. uh, so every time I proactively started, I just hit the checklist, what was asked, I finished the task and I gave it off. And it did not, you know create an impression that I have done something different and it's valuable. So every time I left myself open for a few hours, uh, let the ideas flow in, and did the report or something. That is when the report has left a mark. So for example, even this presentation, which I showed for this entire session, so I did this in my office, and the preparation for where are the deadlines. Not a complete deadline of an hour. It's very difficult to create a presentation like this in an hour. But I had procrastinated for first early days for ideas to flow in, and then I created the presentation. So this is the sweet spot, uh, somewhere in between. So if the task is assigned on Monday and it's due on Friday, so you leave Monday and half of the Tuesday for the creativity to come in, for the ideas to flow in. Okay, and then finally you start doing the task, and that will help. You can only know that by your experience. Okay, I think we're end of the presentation. So yeah, so before I finish, I just want to leave you all with a quote from Muhammad Iqbal. People who have no hold over their process of thinking are likely to be ruined by the liberty of the thought. If thought is immature, liberty of thought becomes a method of converting men into animals. So this liberty is enjoyed by the instant gratification monkey. If in case I'm wondering who. So instant gratification monkey is an animal, and he doesn't care about the past, and he has no aspirations to the future. He only lives in the present. So you leave yourself to him. Eventually the consequences are going to be very bad. Okay, I think we are good, and we can leave a few minutes open for all of us to speak. So I'll stop my presentation and head for Q&A. If Saif Sab is on the audio, he can guide us. So the question of Naz, and then we have. I leave the experts in the group to answer the question of Naz, because this is off topic, and Any other questions related to this topic, you can let in the chat, and then we can. Thank you. From this session, I expect all of us, to reflect back on how we have procrastinated on some of the tasks that we had in our life and what the consequences are. So don't forget them and continue to do the same thing over and over again. Recall all your dreams and aspirations that were crushed by the instant gratification monkey, and don't let him, do the same for the rest of your aspirations, rest of the aspirations that you have for the rest of your career or your academics. So I have one question from Syed Sufyan. What do we do if we have pending task in hand and new tasks are being assigned right now? It could be two things. One, that you have the pending task which you have. If you had the right amount of time to attend it, you should have attended it. If you have not, and if you have delayed actioning on those, and new tasks are being assigned to you, so there's something called cram. This is not an ideal method of attending things, but in order to get over it, get control of it, cram means extending your hours to attend something um, beyond your working hours. For example, when I did my 90-day program at my office, I was at the last minute of last few hours of the deadline. So what I did was I stayed back in the office for the last few hours, finished the presentation. That is called cramming. So if you dedicating some more hours to the tasks that were pending before before beyond your working hours, if that can finish the pending tasks, well and good, and then you can start the new task with less weight on your shoulders. I hope I answered, Sufyan.
Yes, Jazakallah khair.
So what?
Can close now.
Yes, sir. So we have one last question. If possible, can you let us know what your manager spike after 90 days meeting? They just want to understand our experience for the 90 days, how our training was, how the team members were with us, their behavior, or how the training went, and what all have we grasped. So it's a validation check, to see a new hire, how is he doing, is he fitting in, is he gelling in with the next rest of the peers. What to do when two different tasks are assigned with almost same deadlines? You see, there's absolutely nothing that is going beyond 24 hours of a day. Like there's no two different realities that we are living in to complete something. So what you do is, like, divide the hours, divide at what time you want to attend which task. I know it's a very straightforward answer, Syed Shirin, but that is how you have to attend the two assignments which have a same deadline. So dedicate. So both assignments will not take the whole day. Will not also be of the same complexity. See which one is easier. Finish the task the first. But that is also sunnat, and it also give you motivation boost to finish the next of the assignment. Yeah, prioritize the task is what I meant. I will share the presentation to Dr. Saif Saab. You can take this from them. Okay, I think we are good. Dr. Saab, we are good with the presentation and questions. I will go and stop the recording.